I, Paramhansa Yogananda, am praying with you. Pray with me with the deepest devotion of your soul. Oh, 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 Amen. Oh, 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 Amen. Almighty Spirit, Almighty Beloved, Om Spirit, receive the unctuous fervor of our souls. Oh, Amen.
What a beautiful way to start with our dear Yogananda. Thank you for being here today. Once again, we are on a beautiful planet within a galaxy, within a solar system, within a universe, within cosmos. And the idea is that all in nature evolves, including you and me, of course, but also nature herself. She is the ultimate evolutionary principle as she is creation. We have the creator and we have creation. And you would say that creation is a piece of art. And so the creator creates through art, and that art is our cosmic mother nature. And so we have evolution written into our own blueprint. And it is only when beings do not evolve that we obviously have a problem. And then we go into descent in unconsciousness. But we are programmed to ascend into more consciousness. As all nature is programmed to evolve and beings are given free will to some extent, then it would be the most wonderful, reasonable, and the reason that I use the word reasonable, it is our natural intelligence. And so when it comes to our natural intelligence, it is important that we understand that evolution is what we were designed to do every single day. Every single moment is an opportunity to actually evolve into more light, into more love. And we often in the light workers community hear love light and, I'm sending you love and light, but we should not really dismiss the fact that love and light are so absolutely essential to our evolution, and that without love, there is not more light. And where there is love, there will be more light. And that light is sacred consciousness. It is our divine nature to be more and more and more and more, infinitely more loving, to a point where we actually can love the entire creation with all our heart. And even then, it doesn't stop. So then we match the expansion of creator, and we too become cosmic beings, meaning we become one with the cosmos. And that is what is the mystical state known as embodying cosmic consciousness. My stories, and I always like to share the stories where I truly experience these mystical states, because only then I can explain them from this ordinary human perspective. So, and many of you have heard this one before, but it's what was given to me this morning to share. Where there is fear, there is no love. Where there is fear, there is no room for the expansion of consciousness, which is love and which is light. So whenever we are in fear, we are actually outside the frequency of consciousness. That means we are in unconsciousness, and it is always a contraction. Any form of fear, which also is worry, is a contraction. We know what it feels like to be in fear. Now, many years ago, I was going through a very intense process of meditation. And I was just meditating all the time and then going to work and, looking after my family, but also meditating all the time. As much as I could, I wanted to meditate night and day and all the time. I even took vacation just to meditate. And so this obviously leads to amazing expansion because, the more within you go, the more you find and the more you can expand. And one day, really, Jesus appeared in the form that we know as Jesus, which happens to mystics, obviously, but also it happened to Yogananda as a yogi. So, Christ consciousness takes on a form of a being that we are familiar with so that we understand what's going on. And so Jesus appeared, and this was I think it was a Saturday or a Sunday. I know for sure it was a weekend, and I was living in Berlin. And Jesus took me into his light body. And I think he did that to his disciples as well. I think there are stories about it in the Bible. So when you are in the light body of another being, you get to experience what is possible. And so I got to experience, he held me within the light body for 24 hours. And it was incredible. It was the most unbelievable state of being. It was nothing that I could compare it to in this human experience. It was beyond anything and everything. It was just no words to describe it. All I could think about is wow, I am in the presence of all love. And then I was trying to really understand what this energy is. And he was communicating with me that day, all day long. And I was really just held in the light body of Christ. And he explained to me something so amazing. And to me, that was a breakthrough. He said, not only are you in the presence of all love, you are also in the absence of all fear. And that to me was whoa, the absence of all fear. And I always say I didn't think of myself as a fearful person. My life was really good. There was no reason for any type of fear or worry. And yet I realized that we are in the collective field, which is filled with fear, worry, and unconsciousness. And that even if we think we are not a fearful person, that fear lives like a virus within us. And it creates kind of like a blockage within our energetic system. And so the light of consciousness cannot flow through us where there is fear. And so I saw suddenly, I was able to see the presence of fear in the world that we live in. And it was overwhelming. I really, since that day, call it a virus because it was everywhere. And it had so many different forms. And I realized that even though I don't think of myself as a fearful person, suddenly I realized it is in me. It lives within me, this unconsciousness of fear. And, the big fear that people have is the fear of death, but people have a lot of different fears. There are so many survival fears that people have. And so in the presence of Christ, there was the absence of fear. Absolute absence, zero. Even the speck of fear was gone. There was nothing. And that allowed the absolute divine love to be so present. And so this is the amazing evolutionary journey that we are here upon, I guess. And that is the journey from any form of fear, any lower human nature, any unconsciousness, to pure love, to pure light, to pure consciousness. And I want to say, don't worry. Using the word worry. It takes time and it takes practice. And it is not something we actually can do with the mind itself. We actually achieve this through a shift, an energetic shift of consciousness. And thank you, Julie. It just really is so helpful for me. I wish I could speak to all of you so that together we figure it all out. Because I know that there's so much more to be figured out. And so now this is the thing, that it is not something we can do just mentally. It is not something we can do just physically. It is not something we can do just emotionally. It is actually a shift of the entire being that you are on every level, that the entire being goes to a whole new quantum level of consciousness. So you take your entire being with you to the next level of yourself. And to me, I never know when the shift happens. And I wanted to speak about that before we journey into the soul today. So Yogananda had me repeat step 1, step 2, step 3, and even step 4 every single day once I learned these steps. And I repeated all of them for those 2 years, plus minus some days. So every day it was the same process. And he said, this will bring you to God. It was all about having contact with God. I call it encounter, but Yogananda call it contact with God. And so I practiced every single day, and things were unfolding and changing, but I didn't meet God after those 2 years. But I was completely going, following the path. So every day you show up. And the idea is that as you wake up in the morning, you wake up with your divine consciousness that you choose. And so you kind of, just fill your mind with divine thoughts. And we all know what divine thoughts would feel like, because thoughts have a feeling to them. So thoughts create a feeling nature. So to have thoughts of, for example, Divine Mother, to have thoughts of love, to have obviously a state of love. So it is practice that we need to be practicing all day long. There should not be a moment where we are out of practice. But, I read recently on one of these calls from Yogananda's book, which is called The Journey to Self-Realization, which is a wonderful book to have because you have his talks. So, each talk is like 2 pages. So even if you just open the book randomly, which is what I love doing, and just read a few sentences, it's always very inspiring. And he was saying how he just forgot God for 3 days. And I thought, whoa, my beloved Yogananda forgot God for 3 days. Then all is well if we sometimes go into our human nature. But the idea is, of course, and this is the blueprint from Mu that was originally brought to planet Earth, that we are always in divine consciousness, that we always are absolutely connected to source of all things. When I have my memories from Mu, those are very beautiful memories without any distortions until the distortion came from elsewhere. So when we were fully connected to source, we had a name for source. So we were using a language that was more, today people call it the light language, but there are cosmic languages that are more sounds. And this is actually something that I will be teaching here. Yogananda gave me a very sacred breathing technique that I'll be teaching. And it's a very mysterious breathing technique that I don't know if it is taught anywhere, but I know that there are mystics in the Himalayas who also practice the same technique of the lineage of Babaji. But so these sounds of cosmic languages, they are very simple sounds. So they are more like syllables. And for example, we have some ancient languages on this planet. And for example, the native people, the Hopi people, the Zuni people, they were using these languages that came from cosmos, so cosmic languages. And so at the beginning in Mu, we had a name for source, we knew source. We could see it all the time. Our third eye, today we call it the third eye. I would say we had a spiritual sight. We were able to see all energies. And so we had a name for this, and we call source Tewa. And so we could see how Tewa was emanating this rainbow light to us. And we saw the same thing being emanated to us from the earth. and we would constantly be in our divine energy, divine consciousness, and there was no room for unconsciousness. It didn't exist actually on planet Earth at the beginning. And so we were constantly using our divine consciousness to co-create with Tewa, to co-create with God, to co-create with Spirit. And for example, if you are familiar with the Hopi people or with the Navajo people, with the Zuni people, they are also still using the word Tewa, and the language group that they still speak is called the Tewa language group. So it's interesting because it's actually that old. It's all the way from Mu, and so from the beginning of civilization, or actually life on planet Earth. And so the key is, obviously, this is our goal. The goal is to awaken every level of our being, which we will be doing today. We will be going to the next level. This is the picture you see here. Some people call it the oversoul. I call it the cosmic egg or the soul. And basically, we will explore the next level of our being in a higher dimension. Yeah, I put it sideways, and I tell you why. To me, when I go into the spirit, which is the next level after soul, the spirit is like the ocean, and the soul is an individualized, kind of oval, egg-shaped body of light, geometries, energies, stories, lifetimes, experiences. There's so much within the soul, and it will be up to you to explore it, actually. And again, this took me those 2 years every day to explore my own soul, and I'm never done. And I will tell you a little bit about how this works. So obviously, we live in a multidimensional reality. And what does it mean? It means that simply you have layers upon layers upon layers of your own being. And the higher you go, the finer that layer is, the more connected to source that level is. But nothing should prevent us from actually embodying our highest self on every level of our being. That actually is the goal. That is the ultimate self-realization. When we stop being defined by the world we live in, this is so important. When we stop being defined by the world we live in, when we actually become the Christed one, which is the highest state of being for us, in every world we might find ourselves in. When we embody the fullness of Christ, which always is all love, and again, I don't speak about Jesus, but it's Christ light, Christ consciousness, which always is the ultimate all love and illumination. So we can do it anywhere. We can do it in this world. We can go to the 5th dimension, become that too. We can go to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and become that too. Nothing prevents us from doing it here right now. And this is the key, to become it, your highest version in this world right now. And really, we don't have any excuse not to, because it is possible. And so what does it take though? Well, it takes quite a bit. Number one, we have been conditioned to think certain ways, and our mental body usually is pretty much a burden to us, our emotional body then too, and so on and so on. But again, nothing can stop us from actually achieving our highest state of being in this version of ourself. And so when you go to other dimensions, you just find yourself in a different version of yourself. And you also find that even nature has higher dimensions of her own self. So today we would call nature something very physical, but nature is also very non-physical. She's also very etheric. She's also very multidimensional. So the way that I see it, again, when usually my perceptions come mainly from out-of-body travel, when we are a little bit more liberated from the human self. So the higher you go, the more elevated your consciousness is, simply because the higher dimensions allow it to be. The conditions are so much nicer. But again, nothing should prevent us when the conditions are not so nice, to again be the highest self. Now, the higher you go, you also realize the more nature there is. So nature too exists within all 12 dimensions. And again, the higher you go, the more emanating, beautiful, perfect she is. And so this is a really important thing, that we all are within multidimensionality, and nature is always part of it. And actually nature is the one who rules, because she is the cosmic mother, and she manifests herself in cosmic nature. And cosmic nature is so much more than what we see as the physical cosmos. And that is because of the multidimensionality of all things. So today we will take the next step. And again, you know that when we journey with Yogananda, we always follow the same process. In the end, the process is so simple. You can do the whole practice in a few minutes. And that is, number one, we purify. And I follow 100% the protocol that Yogananda taught me, because eventually it led to contact not only with God, with source, with direct communication with what we would call the eye of God, but also, of course, with Divine Mother. And to me, you know, that's the most amazing thing that can happen to us, I think, when we actually realize our highest potential. And then it's a whole new story. It doesn't stop, but then it keeps going, because everything in creation keeps going. And so once we have this amazing encounter, or the contact with God, Divine Mother, Source, these are all absolutely, you know, creator consciousness expressed in different energies. So when we speak with Divine Mother, or when we speak with God, it can feel like different energies, and yet it is the same thing, the same consciousness, but it manifests for us differently. So we have, I would definitely say always, I know the big difference between Divine Mother and Divine Father, and yet it is all one. So whatever it is for you, whatever you desire, whatever you call in for yourself, will be your perfect manifestation of the divine, of course. And the divine also chooses you when you're ready. So also it just falls into your lap whenever you're ready. The readiness. What is the readiness? The readiness is always energetic. It always is. And again, I say, you never know when your breathing technique, when your yoga, when your meditation, when your communion with nature delivers the big result. So never give up. You never know, you might be just one breath away from it. And that's how I see it, is that, you know, when you go into meditation, it's good to be in the beginner's mind and to say, what if today is the day? And very often it is. And so just my own personal journey. So I met Yogananda in 2010, never knew of him in this world, which was really cool. Then he taught me for 2 years. And so I was done in 2012. But I kept obviously meditating and practicing, but without him being directly with me. And then in 2015 was the experience that I would call contact with God. And then 2 years later is when Divine Mother appeared for the first time fully and completely in her full-blown form of Adi Shakti. So I just want to put it into perspective. Sometimes it takes years, but it is so worth it. The effort is sweet, because there's always, you know, little rewards here and there. For example, this morning I was meditating and Yogananda appeared, and it doesn't always happen. This is not like an everyday thing that Yogananda would come in a form where he is standing in front of me in a form, you know, like an apparition. And please tell me, I always use the word, but I always wonder, is that the right word? When people have, you know, they meet Mother Mary and she stands in front of them, like, and she delivers some messages. So that is an amazing experience, of course. Yes, thank you. And so this happened this morning, and I was so incredibly happy to see him, because I never want to be teaching anything or sharing anything that he would not be supportive of, you know. And so it's really important that we have these divine experiences as well, to show us this is the right thing, you're on the right path, doing the most amazing thing you can do for the divine right now. And the most amazing thing we can do for the divine is to always be in consciousness. When we go into unconsciousness, we are choosing I call it the other side, or the adversary, as Yogananda called it. And with our choices, we have immense power. We can choose consciousness in every moment. And especially when we go into fear, it's good to remember who we are, who the creator is, who the divine mother is, who really is, the big boss here, and then connect with that amazing confidence and release all fear and release it all, because there is no room for it. Now, I always say Divine Mother did not create suffering. Divine Mother did not create pain to be part of this game. She actually is not very happy about how pain and suffering actually took over humanity. She always says it was all meant to be beautiful, so let us just return to that beautiful. And guess what? If we all return to consciousness, and I mean not 99% of consciousness, but 100% consciousness, we would all be acting out of love. And that's what it is. So I visit the new earth, and I thought about it this morning when I saw Yogananda, how important it is to be able to go to the new earth and to come back and speak about the design of life on the new earth. And the design, as you know, it is that every being loves life 100%, and not a single thought is an unconscious thought which would create suffering and pain again, either for the person who's thinking it or for others around. It's very toxic. So the new earth, as a dimension that already exists, is pure consciousness and pure love. And there will be no toxins there. So we choose love. And why was it this morning that, Yogananda came and I was thinking about the new earth? Why is it so important? And the most important thing about this is nothing prevents us from being, acting, thinking, and feeling here in this world as if this already was the new earth. Nothing can prevent you from choosing love. And that, to me, was a big breakthrough this morning, because just because the world still has unconsciousness in it, we don't have to be part of it. But the next masterclass will be about Divine Mother and all the lessons. Hopefully I can remember them all that she delivered since 2017. But I wanted to mention one thing. Divine Mother is deeply, deeply engaged with the world. When she sees pain, she doesn't look away. And I know that sometimes people say we should ignore the pain so that we stay in high vibes. And to me, that is exactly the opposite of what is required of us. Divine Mother looks pain and suffering in the eyes, but she doesn't go down with it. She goes into her heart, and from the power of her loving heart, she creates a new reality to counteract that which is happening in the world. So, and this was training I received from her, and I'll speak about it more next time. But I want to say, Divine Mother is a creator. She doesn't look at the world without compassion. She always is the ultimate caring, compassionate consciousness that will counteract the suffering of the world with her love. And that is really important. So when you see suffering in the world, I would recommend not to look away from it, but to create the new, pure reality from your heart. And Patricia Cota-Robles speaks about this too. It is through love that all can be transformed. So when we see broken systems, broken world, we don't go and try to fix it. We create the new, completely new from the heart. So I look at the world, for example, and when I see war, I create peace every single day. And I know that even though peace is not yet here, one day it will be, because of all of us who asked for it. So I ask for big things, and I hope you do too. Always the big one is thriving for all, peace for all, the entire planet, conscious humanity, love for all, consciousness in every single heart and mind for all. And then I'll ask for leadership, because right now I don't see any leadership in this world, but leadership of love, leadership of oneness, and so on and so on. So this is really the key, you know. The key is actually to be in the world, to be the force of love, to be the force of consciousness, and to know that the power is with you. It sounds like Star Wars. The power is with us, and it's infinite. And God taught me something amazing. When you command from consciousness and love, it must be so. And so it must be so. That's it. So let us go and explore the world of the soul. Now, for those of you who have worked with us when we worked with Oren, the wonderful album that Oren has is Increasing Your Inner Light. Again, it's only $89, so if you don't have it. Oh yeah, and thank you, Hillary, for that quote. That's exactly what it is. We are building a new model, and the way that we can do it is by bringing through this information from the new earth to see how they operate up there and to bring it down here and anchor it into this world. It's a great work. So hopefully you feel passionate about your own expansion, because really, I would say never give up, you know, even if it's the last day of your life, don't give up, because the reward is sweet, and that is the bliss we gain from our contact with God, with Divine Mother. And then, of course, if we are still in this world, we can be so much more engaged with service. And it brings us so much joy to ignite others for this amazing divine creation that we are part of. Divine Mother always says, number one, love life with all your heart. And I love it. Again, for those of you who know the quote from the Bible, please put it in. I think it's love the Lord with all your heart and all your soul and all your mind. But that's exactly what Divine Mother is asking of all of us. And instead of saying Lord, it is love life. Love life with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. I don't know if that's the quote, but she always says love life. And how can we love life if we are just kind of, you know, in circumstances that are really sometimes tragic? But because the power is with us, we can transform circumstances, but we don't really do it from our human self. We have to make contact with our expanded self. And this is what Yogananda will show us today. So we are building upon the purification. We still always go to the angelic queendom to receive more light. That is an amazing practice to have. Every day you can add more light to yourself simply by doing this. And again, this practice eventually can be super quick. So you go to purify, you go to the angelic world, then you move into your soul, which we will explore today. And then from the soul, the next step tomorrow will be exploring our spirit, which eventually leads to contact with that Godhead. And so tomorrow we'll explore the spirit. So again, I made the video the way that Yogananda showed me how this is done. I will take you to the video. I posted it on YouTube this morning. So some people are getting my emails, some people are not getting my emails. So if you don't get an email, you wonder where the replay is, it's always going to be on our YouTube. And with that, let us again use our mind like a creator being, which means we set intention. And we set intention from the bottom of the heart, the way that Divine Mother would do it, always from the heart. From the heart, we today see how we will purify, add more light in the angelic world, and then we will journey with Yogananda to the solar plane. It's a very high plane where souls reside, where souls exist. So we'll go higher and higher and higher. And so let us go together. So this is 11 minutes. There's some just music playing as well, so that we have some time to absorb all the divine essences and energies. For the first time, I do recommend actually keeping your eyes open if you want to see all the visuals. I try to always find the visuals that describe what things look like, but also you don't have to, you can just visualize yourself. Step 3, exploring your soul. Many people imagine their soul is around their body, but in this step, we will explore a very large body of consciousness, your soul, in a much higher dimension in the soul plane, where the soul exists. This will be a life-changing experience which will give you access to so much more of your multi-dimensional consciousness. Join Master Yogananda once again for a ritual of purification by the living fire of God. Enter Yogananda's hermitage in Encinitas and stand in front of the fireplace in Yogananda's living room. Repeating this process of purification is essential each time you wish to travel to higher dimensions, because the lighter you become, the higher you can expand. Offer the brown cloak of human lower nature and all unconsciousness to the golden white fire of God, and burn all that overshadows the light of your divine self. You have been purified and are ready to join Yogananda for step 2, your journey into the angelic realm. When our energy field is clean, we can enter the queendom of heaven, where angelic healer beings can help us beautify, reorder, ignite, and further liberate and enhance our light body and our energy. Step 1 removes the heavy, dark layers of densities, and step 2 illuminates us more and more. The more we do, the better it gets. To enter the angelic realm, you travel with Master Yogananda through a portal outside in the ocean-facing front yard of the hermitage. This is a portal. Yogananda activates the elevator vortex, which lifts you both up to the dimension of angels. As soon as you arrive, you meet familiar beings of rainbow light who beckon you to lay down on a healing crystal bed. A large team of angelic healers surrounds you with such love for you. Receive the great gift of light, sound, color, new geometries, and pure divine life energy. Each and every time you allow the angel beings to work on you, they create more and more divine harmony in your energy field and your physical and non-physical body. Take time to receive this new light, this new coherence, this exceptional expansion of your light and love. You are being prepared for a hugely important encounter, contact with your soul. Smile in preparation for what is to come next. When you smile, you relax your heart and open your energy field. When you are ready, Give your gratitude to the angelic beings. You will be back tomorrow for more. They are so happy they can be of service to you every day. Yogananda smiles at you as you shine so bright. He is very pleased with your divine ambition to make contact with God and Divine Mother. Today's step brings you closer to the ultimate contact with the Godhead. Have confidence in your divine self. Yogananda shows you the way to the solar plane. This is where all souls dream their dreams and float like giant eggs in the golden ocean of spirit. You are lifted up from the realm of the angels, higher to the solar plane. The ocean of spirit is everywhere. It seems to be all there is. Waves upon waves of golden white light of God, manifested as a cosmic ocean of endless consciousness. You see an infinite amount of souls, all floating on the calm, gentle waves of spirit. Each soul is like a giant oval shape, a cosmic egg. Each soul is an individualized body of consciousness, separate from other souls and yet connected in absolute oneness by the ocean of spirit. Yogananda moves with you in a floating motion above the ocean of spirit to introduce you to your soul. The size of a soul compared to the spirit is like comparing a sea to the ocean. A smaller body of consciousness, light and energy, but still very big and so much vaster than a human energy field. To make contact with your cosmic egg, your soul, you can simply enter the oval shape by moving through a membrane. The membrane is what keeps each soul as an individualized body and field. Once you enter your soul, it is like entering a sea of energy, light, images, stories, dreams, sounds, lifetimes, visions, shapes, and energy flows. It will be up to you to come back every day to explore the vastness of your soul. The soul is so vast, it can take several years to fully explore the intricate workings of the internal world that you now entered. Play with your imagination or use your third eye to see. Both are equally valuable. Imagination is a divine gift of consciousness. As you learn the workings of your soul, you realize your soul is a dreamer, and you are one of the dreams your soul is dreaming. From this place within the soul, you will be able to become an active dreamer with your soul and dream your life into being consciously. You will be able to change your life if you wish to do so, or add many new experiences and miracles to your current human life. There are no limits. All limitations exist within the unconscious mind. And so you are now becoming super conscious. You are becoming a fully realized, multi-dimensional being. You can keep on floating inside your soul and explore every energy that you encounter. A fun way to move around your own soul is to swim like a dolphin in the sea of your soul. So much to explore. Your soul is an unlimited dreamer and dreams many realities into being, and you are one of them. When you make contact with your soul, you gain so much soul power, and the more soul power you have, the more you can bend reality. Now Yogananda calls you back out. You exit the cosmic egg of your soul and journey back with the Master down from the solar plane, in the elevator vortex, back through the angelic realm and back down to the earth, to the hermitage in Encinitas. Congratulations, you have just changed your life by contacting your soul. It is recommended to practice daily, step 1, 2, and 3, until we are ready for step 4, in which we explore the infinite world of the Spirit. May you be so very blessed by the golden white light of God. And so it is. So if you had issues with the video, you can find it on YouTube. It's always in the new uploads, and I will be uploading the recording of this event as well. So step 3, these are very simple steps. And why does it work? Well, it works because it's a pathway. When you're activating, for example, your life force that people call Kundalini, there is a pathway within us, but it's not only in the body, it's also in our energy body. And actually, what people mostly don't know is that we need to contact our soul to embody the soul more and more and more. And one day, if you're going to be following this path, you will realize that you are actually expanding when you go into the soul to be more and more and more like your soul, until you actually become as large as your soul, which means like the sea, like the Mediterranean Sea. That is the vastness of the soul. But then once you get to explore the vastness of that sea, you actually will be going beyond. And when you go beyond, you become one with the spirit. That's another, a whole new adventure to explore spirit. And it is only after we've explored the spirit, got to know the spirit, embodied the spirit, then we actually, I would say, reach source. The music you can find online. I bought it from the artist actually to be able to use it. Her name is Lothoniel. I love this song. It's called Platonic Solids. So if you look for Lothoniel and Platonic Solids, you will find the song on YouTube. It's brilliant. And I feel so lucky that she would give me the rights to use it actually. And so I'm gonna put it here in the chat. So the journey, obviously, it's not for people who don't have dedication. Dedication is daily practice, and the transformation that is possible is endless. And the more we transform, the more luminous our lives become. So since the design was not suffering and pain have to be transmuted. And so there is a state called the end of suffering. And I think in Buddhist practices is what you learn about ending suffering. And so how do we end suffering? Well, number one, we have to end suffering within our own being. by fully embodying the light of consciousness, which always is done through love. So I always say, if we want to know how conscious we are, we look at how loving we are. And then that love becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and it pushes out everything else that is not love. So for example, Yogananda, people ask him, do you protect yourself? Because, you know, we have so many forces in this world. We have the adversary also. And Yogananda said, no, I don't protect myself. I just love God with all my heart. And that creates protection. And why is it? Well, in a way, it's like having that eggshell around you, the cocoon of light. When you are filled with 100% love, what else can come in? Nothing. When we are filled only to 71%, for example, of consciousness, well, then we still have room for the other thing to come in. And so it is up to us to make this choice, of course. And every moment is a moment of choice. Every thought can be a moment of choice. And it's a process. But I believe that this process that Yogananda gave us, it actually leads to greatness. And it is just the pathway that exists. The portals are important. So I see we have Isabella here on the call, and Isabella shared with me yesterday the videos that Self-Realization Fellowship has, where you can watch, you know, the Encinitas temple, you can go inside the hermitage. And what I loved about it is that Yogananda used to go and meditate on this beautiful land before the hermitage was built, and he didn't even know it was going to be given to him as a gift from one of his disciples. And so he used to just feel so drawn to this place, and he would sit there on the cliffs and meditate. So that explains to me also so beautifully why this is a portal. And so that portal is available to us energetically. We don't have to be there in person, but it is a portal to go to. So for example, like people, you know, imagine they are sitting in the Pyramid of Giza. For certain energies, we go to Encinitas and we travel this pathway, which already has been laid out for us by Master Yogananda, to be able to first purify, then go to the angelic world, then go to the solar plane, and then next will be, which will be tomorrow, the spirit. So the ocean of spirit, it's when source, you can think of source as a single point of emanation. So when source starts emanating, it emanates spirit. So source is the point of origin, spirit is next. And then you have the next level, which is individualization. And that is the solar plane, the soul plane. And that is the level we visited today. And so tomorrow we'll be visiting the spirit level, which is not individualized. Wonderful adventure to be part of. And so thank you so much for being here. Tomorrow is our last day of this masterclass, and the next masterclass will be all about Divine Mother. And again, these practices are something to be practiced. And that's just how it all works, because without practice, there is no mastery. And so we'll repeat at 5 p.m. Pacific today as well. Otherwise, same time, same place tomorrow. I will not be sending more emails, so just save the Zoom link, put it in your calendar if you want to participate. So thank you so much, and I see you in the soul plane.